What is up? We're in here talking about trucking again, all things you need to know about trucking. But, seriously, we're just answering questions that you might have on trucking, seeing what you want to know about, what you have a question about, anything you want to talk about. Question, comments, concerns, whatever. So this week, tomorrow I'm testing a guy out tomorrow, and then a week from tomorrow I'm testing my next guy out, and like half a week after that, I'm testing my next guy out. So, lots of testing coming up. I just did the 2026 Kenworth video. If y'all want any other videos about the Kenworth, go ahead and just drop them on comments on that video because I can, you know, hey, you might ask me a question I might not have the answer about because I'm still learning that Kenworth. I really need to get a hold of the Kenworth representative at Prime and talk to him about some questions that I do have. So, whatever I learn, I'm willing to share with anybody out there that wants to know anything about the Kenworth. Uh, it's a great truck, really good truck. And I had a super short load today. So we ran a super short load today, real quick, got back. I went ahead and worked with my guy that's testing tomorrow, make sure that he's all set for his test. Nerves are one thing that is hard to deal with. You do some silly stuff when you have nerves. So, I hope that he saw what his nerves did to him today. And he said, because he started out nervous, I was all like, dude, stop being nervous. Just drive the truck like you normally do. You don't have to be nervous. So, I think he kind of calmed down and he started being like, you know what, I got this. Like, let me just do this. And he started doing way better once he wasn't nervous. Reaper says, I'm starting Prime in 2 months. How do I get you to be my trainer? I need to learn from the best of the best. Hey, I'm not the best. Like, I'm one of the best. I will say that. So I'm not I don't consider myself the best. There's one guy out there that I feel like he is the best. The best. If you have this guy, like, you have the best trainer in my opinion at Prime Inc. The best instructor we have. And he's Flatbed Justin. He actually is the one that wrote the pre-trip I use. So, shout out to him. Great guy, awesome guy, funny guy. Like, I mean, just super cool. And in my opinion, he's one of the best. He is the best. He is the best. But if you're looking to get me as your trainer, first you have to put me down as a referral because, and if you don't put me down as a referral, then like you got to let me know, hey, I use so and so for a referral because I know them, or I watch their videos and they're the ones that inspired me. Like, let me know what's up. It's because whenever I go to the training department, so say I go to the training department and I say, hey, I got X Reaper. He's he's gonna be my student, and they get on that computer and they're all like, why didn't he put you down as a referral? I don't know. I don't know. And they're all like, huh, it seems like he's just fishing for a trainer. It seems like he just found your channel and he wants a trainer. So we're not going to put him with you. Or they're all like, I ran into this one time with Kiersey. So they had Kiersey's name on there and they said, hey, Kiersey's been here a long time and she's a trainer. Why is she not training this guy? And I said, I I can't give you an answer for that. Like, I don't know why. Um, you would have to call her. All I know is that this guy watched her, followed her channel, and he wanted to give her the referral bonus, but he wanted me to train him. So, like, I don't know if he reached out to her or not. So that way I kind of have the understanding of like what's going on, and they have the understanding of what's going on. I had a guy I have a guy on my truck right now, and he wanted me to train him, and I said, hey, who do you know here? Like, or he said he had a TNT trainer already, so I said, hey, send me your name and your TNT trainer's name. So he sent me his name and his TNT trainer's name. I went over there. I said, hey, look, I got this guy here. This is his name. His TNT trainer is this, and he wants me to train him. So like I've been talking to him, and I'll train him. And they said, well, we're gonna see what we can do. So it just makes it a lot easier if we're both on the same page here, and the training department is too. That we're like, hey, I know that this guy has this going on and he wants you to train him. It just makes everything a lot smoother. Shoot me text. Like my texts are in most of my videos descriptions. Almost all my video descriptions. My phone number's in there. Shoot me a text. I work best off of text. It's hard for me to talk on the phone because like I'm working, and I might check a text, be able to respond back, and then back to work. So Gene Scott, what's up, Gene? How's it going? Gene Scott says, that was the last truck that I drove, was a T680 for 2 years before I got out of trucking. I loved it. Yeah, it's an awesome truck. I love that truck. Peg Leg. Hey, if y'all don't know Peg Leg, he's always willing to share his legs so y'all can hit the like button. What's going on, Peg Leg? Aaron says, I'm at Prime Springfield location. Can I have your name to be my trainer or truck number? So you're at the Prime, you're at Prime already? Yeah, if you're at Prime already, I can't help you because you're already here. I have to do that before you get here. I have to set it all up before you get here. Once you're here, it's like you're fishing for an instructor, and they don't do that at Prime. Flatbed trucker, hello. I told my recruiter to change to you after I got declined for the tanker division. Ouch. Yeah, I see. Aaron, I already got a guy coming in Monday, so like I don't have a spot for you on my truck, bro. Don't. I don't. If you would have if you would have got with me ahead of time and we could have talked about this stuff, like we could have got it set up, but I already talked to another guy, and he's coming in next week, though. I already have him on my schedule. And then 2 weeks from now, I have another guy coming in, and 3 weeks from then, I believe, I have another guy coming in. So, like, I do have a lot of people coming in. Like, it's first come, first serve on the spots. That's what I say. First come, first serve. So, like, if I'm talking to you through text message, and we talk, and we're all like, man, we're gonna work out perfect together. Like, let's do it. You know, we can make it happen. But once you get to Springfield, nah, can't help you. I've had my students before, they were over there bragging on me. They're all like, man, my trainer's great, telling their roommate, my trainer's the best trainer, like I'm having a great time. And I'm all like, and the students all like texting me, hey, I'm here at Springfield, can I have you as the trainer? And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. I have to let the training department know weeks in advance, at least a week in advance. And they gotta see that you're not even there. They'll look it up on the computer as I'm talking to them, and they'll be like, okay, he's gonna be here on this day. And I'm all like, yep, that's what he told me. Okay, we're gonna type it down. They type it down. Then the student comes in, puts my information on the handwritten paper application, and we're good for the most part. Reaper says, okay, bet I got you. Hope to be training with you. Use your referral code. All right. All right, Reaper. Definitely keep in touch with me though. Like definitely text me. I can't even see. So that's my other phone. That's my work phone. So like I don't really remember the number right now. I think it's like I shouldn't even guess because somebody gonna text the wrong person. Let's see if I'm right. I'm gonna type it down in the chat. I'm gonna type it in the chat over here. And then why is it not typing? All right, there we go. Let's see if I'm right. I gotta look it up. Uh, hey, look at that. I had it right. So like, hey, I know my number. Look at that. I'm not gonna get lost. Or if I get lost, I have my phone number. So that's the phone number. That is definitely the phone number. Makes sense. Gene's Gene says, "Don't stress, Aaron. He will just give you away. LOL. I'm playing, and Greenwich will shock the shit." So Gene, so when Gene came in, I had a student that unfortunately he did not pass the test like he should have. So I had to be like I was all like, man, I can't do nothing about it. Like they won't give you to me because my student did not pass. And I think I also had another guy that was a special case that they're all like, hey, you got to work with this dude. He needs serious help. So I think I was dealing with that too. But they did ask me before they put Gene with anyone. They said, hey, you know, we can't put Gene with you, unfortunately. I have this trainer and this trainer available with that. I was all like, yeah, put him with this one. And so I made sure that you were taken care of. Chris says, I'm going to orientation in Springfield on the 22nd, taking a big risk, but I'm sure it will be worth it. Yet, you know, I don't want to say, yeah, it's worth it because I don't know your situation. For me, I was the same way. Like, I risked everything to come out here and do this, and I got lucky because it paid off. Like, some people come out here and it's the best thing. It's the biggest life change. It's the greatest thing that they ever done. Some people will come out here and they'll hate it. Like I had a friend from back home. I had I was like I tried to talk him into coming out here whenever I first came out here. I was like, "Dude, come on, let's go team drive." I hit him up. I was like, "Dude, we'll have fun, man. Like we can do this. We can make some money and stuff." And he's all like, "No, no, I don't think it's for me." Then a while later, he hit me up and he's all like, "Hey, you still trucking?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Tell me about it." I told him about it. I thought that I thought that it was a good fit for him. Like I know him, and I'm all like, "This is gonna be good for him." Like, I think that he'll do real good at this. And he came out here, and he really didn't tell me till after he left. He was all like, "Man, I didn't want to tell you because you know you're like big into this. You're big into this, and you got a lot of passion into this." But man, the whole time I was trucking, I was miserable. I was miserable. I don't like checking in at the shippers, receivers. I don't like detention pay. I didn't like not being at like sleeping odd hours. He's all like, I just didn't like it. It was miserable. I'm gonna let my CDL go, and I don't even care. And I was like, dang, bro. Like he completed his year, and I was like, man, I feel horrible. I was like, I feel bad that like you came out here and you were miserable. But you know, it is what it is. It's not for everybody. We used to say that at the prison all the time whenever I worked out there. We'd be like, hey, this job is not for everybody, because you would have some people that would come in and they would quit the first night. You know, I kind of, whenever I walked in there on my first night, I wanted to quit that. Pegleg says, I'll be there in 6 weeks. Train me. And Pegleg, you might be teaching me how to do things, bro. Old school trucker. You might be teaching me some of those old school bad habits. Chris says, I put my 2 weeks at FedEx. Worked there for 2 years as a delivery driver. Getting my CDL is something I always wanted to do. You gotta have a goal to get into this business. Yeah, have a goal. Use trucking to push yourself. Like I was listening to my student talk yesterday. So I was listening to one of my students talk, and he was all like, "Yeah, I'm going to try this out." and I'm going to get some certifications. He goes, I'm going to get a bunch of certifications. That way, if I, like, that's my way out of trucking. Or, like, if something happens to trucking, that's my way out. And I was like, man, so like, I never, like, really thought about it that hard. I was all like, maybe I should start doing the same thing and just getting certifications and stuff like that, just as a backup. It's a pretty good ideal. I thought it was kind of cool. I've had guys come out here and they're all like, "Hey, look, I'm just gonna work here for like a year. I'm gonna put us like save as much as I can. And it's gonna pay for my college." I've had guys come out here. I had one guy come out here and he was all like, "Hey, he was big into that money exchange stuff. He was all like, man, I'm gonna sell, or I forgot how it was, but to me, it was like gambling. You bet if it went up or you bet if it went down, and you got paid the difference or something like that. It's kind of strange money exchange stuff. He showed me how he did it and stuff like that, and he was all like, I'm just going to sink everything I can into it while I'm out here, and then someday I'm not going to have to work. Next thing I know, that guy's hitting me up, and he's all like, "Yeah, I got my own office in Dallas over here, and I play with like rich people's bank accounts. That's what I do now." He's all like, "I get a percentage of what it makes, or what it like whatever. So like for me to make money, I gotta make money with their money." And he was really big on studying everything, all the all the charts and stuff. He was big on it, and look at him. He took his money from trucking and made him something. So like not everyone's goal when they come out here to trucking is like, I'm gonna stay out here and truck. Like a lot of people have different goals. My goal was come out here and get my 1 year done and then go out to the oil field and drive those oil field trucks. So that was my goal. And I am still here. Uh, let's see. Gold says, had had my classmates all go to the training pad except me. Had my classmates all go to the training pad except for me. The waiting process is brutal, but I got a lot of patience and would love to be trained by the best here in Prime. Let's go, man. Yeah, sometimes stuff doesn't clear, you know. I've So like a lot of people have been having problems once they get here, find out that they need something. You know, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one thing. My recruiter, like I have not heard nobody complain about her. Like if you're putting in an application, and I don't even care about my referral code. If y'all put that on there, awesome, man. I really appreciate it, and that is great. Like you're helping me out so much. But if anything you take from my videos, if you're applying here, get my recruiter. Put my recruiter in the box that says, "Do you have a recruiter?" Put my recruiter's name in there. Like she's handling business. Like, and I don't put my name out for just anybody, but I'll put my name out that she is great. Chris says, I think the worst part for me will be the first month during training because I believe you only get 200 a week until you get your CDL. I'm averaging 14 days with a student, so you'll get that 200 the first week. You'll get the 200 the first week that you meet me. Then you'll get another 200, and then I test my guys out before they get that next one. I know how it is to come out here and try to live off of $200. Like it is hard. It is hard, and I'm glad that I had enough time built up from working for the state that I was still getting paid months after I quit. I was still getting checks, so you know it's hard, and $200 doesn't go very far. Like that 200, whenever I came in 9 years ago, almost 9 years ago. Whenever I came in, that $200 a week was $200 a week. Look how many years that, like, it's been 8, almost 9 years, and it's still $200 a week. Like, I I don't even know what all you could buy with that 200 a week. Like ramen, bunch of ramen, like that's 7 days worth of eating. $200 in a truck stop. You're probably paying about, we'll say, $15 a meal in a truck stop. So, 15. If we're just talking about like a meal in a truck stop, so let's say you just eat 2 meals a day. So that's 30 times 7. It's $210 right there. $210. You're already in the hole $10 if you're just eating 2 meals a day truck stop food. So definitely get some sandwich stuff that's cheap like that. Make sure that you're smart with your money. Like, don't. I've had some of my students. I'll tell you this. Some of my students. I had a student not too long ago, and he was great guy, great guy. I'm not saying nothing bad about him. Well, I'm saying one thing bad about him, I guess. But super cool guy, super cool guy. Bad with money. Bad with money. He saw all the stuff at the Prime store, and he took his 200 and he went and spent almost all of it at the Prime store. Now this dude was coming in every day in new clothes. He was always wearing new clothes. He was a walking Prime billboard. Like, it's Prime Ink, driven by the best. Like the beanie, Prime Ink, driven by the sweatpants, Prime Ink. I was like, dang, man, what you doing, buying out the company store? So like a couple days went by, and we're doing these loads, and I always, like, I'm meal prepping. I'm bringing my food. I don't know if I was bringing my food at the time that I had him, because it's been a while. It was like beginning of this year, or maybe the end of last year, and we would stop at a truck stop, and he didn't have no money to eat. Like, I would stop at a truck stop. Hey man, go get whatever you want. We're Get it real quick. We'll eat real fast, and we'll continue on. And then he would go in there, use the bathroom, come out, and he wouldn't have nothing. And I'd be like, well, let's go. I'm thinking that, hey, he just didn't want nothing. I didn't realize that he spent all his money on Prime gear. I mean, like, who does that? Like, I was like, man, this dude must have some money. He's buying all this Prime stuff, and he's not even hired yet. Like, could you imagine if he didn't get the CDL, or he was all like, you know what, I'm just out of here. Like, I'm leaving. Like, trucking's not for me. He would have all this Prime stuff. But anyways, I didn't know that till one of the loads, my other student bought him food, and after he left, he was telling me, he was all like, yeah, I bought so and so food. And I was like, what? I was like, that's the first time I ever seen him. I think I told him, I was like, man, that's the first time I ever seen him eat on the load. And he was all like, yeah, I bought his food. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, he doesn't have no money. I was like, really? I said, but he's been buying all this Prime gear. And he's all like, yeah, man, he's not good with money. I had another one not too long ago, like, real good guy too, a real nice guy, but he was not good with money. He'd go in the truck stop, and he'd be like, he was looking at this like little carabiner clip, car, however you say it. He was looking at those little like climbing clips, and it had a knife on it and a flashlight. And he's all like, this is cool. I'm about to get this. I'm all like, don't get that. Save your money. Don't waste your money on that. Like, that's not practicable. It's not good. Like, don't spend your money on that. Like, you don't waste your money on it. Because he was in the same boat. He would get that money, and he'd just spend it. And like, payday would come around. So Friday came, and he'd get his $200. And I see him over there, and actually I think you get it on Thursday, I think. Thursday night or something like that. But I see him over there at the food truck, and he would eat lunch. Then he'd go back over there. He gets some ice cream. Then he go back, a little skinny guy too. He go back and get some more food, and I'm just like, dude, like if you're going lease or hell, if your company and you don't know how to manage your money and you're just wasting it like this, you're gonna have issues. Like it's not gonna be good. You're gonna struggle a lot out here. One thing you have to do trucking is be good with your money, make some smart decisions with it. So, it is what it is. $200 a week, it doesn't go as far as you would think. So it is what it is. I was, I didn't have to use my money. What I did with mine, and I understand people are struggling. Like, so I try to test you out soon as you're ready. Like, I don't try to hold you. Like, or I seen stuff like people are like, man, I'm gonna hold this guy a couple more days so I can get him on the next check or whatever. I'm not like that. I'm like, oh, you're ready to test? Let's test you out. Let's get you on your way to making your own money. Cause I know how it is. I was on PSD phase for like 4 weeks or something like that. So I know what it was like. Like, man, I can't wait to get past this so I can start making money instead of being on borrowed money. I'm driving from Michigan, which is an 11-hour drive, so that's gas, a couple hundred in gas right there. Chris, also save your receipts on the way. So I've been hearing students in the classroom. Sometimes I go sit at the back of the classroom, like on Wednesday. If I'm testing a student on Wednesday or throughout the week, and I see a bunch of students in there and they're up there giving them a class, I'll go sit in the back of the class because I always like to see like what they're being taught, and I find out stuff. Like, I didn't know the Prezi app, you can look at it through the Prime app now. I didn't know that the Prime's Preach It video was on the Prime app now. I didn't know how to access it. So I also learned some things in there. But some of the complaints I was hearing in there a couple times is they raise their hand and like they're going over all kinds of stuff in the training room. They're going over all kinds of stuff. But people are raising their hands and they're talking about, hey, I drove my car here, and it cost me a lot of money, and and they're all like, how do I get reimbursed for that? So they don't know that they were supposed to keep their receipts, keep your receipts on your gas and stuff, and the Prime will reimburse you a certain amount. I don't know the amount, so don't quote me on it. I know it used to be in the past, it was whatever were going to spend on the bus ticket for you, they will give you equal to that as a reimbursement for like your gas and stuff like that. So keep receipts, turn them into your recruiter, and they should reimburse you. Some people had recruiters that told them that, and then some guys said, don't know if it's true or not, but they said that their recruiters didn't say that, didn't tell them. So me, I'm all like, man, I'm telling you, like I'm trying to like I put my name out for my recruiter, right? I already said that. I put my name out for my recruiter. Like I swear by her. So like I had to be nosy, and I said whenever there was a little break, I said, "Hey, bro," I said, "Who's your recruiter?" He told me who his recruiter was, and I was like, "That's not mine." Like I was just like, "Okay, whew." I was like, "It's like no." So just make sure my one of my students right now said that he had to do pretty much everything to get to Prime. Like he had to call these people and call those people because his recruiter kind of was dropping the ball to get approved to come in. Look at how money saved up. How many miles do you got to put in? How many miles do you got to put in? It's not a mileage you're required to do during the PSD phase. it's another type of requirement. I really don't like to say what the requirement is because it's a minimum. It's a minimum thing. So I took a guy, let's see, 2 years ago, December, I took a guy over the road, and this guy, he heard the people talking about, hey, this is your minimum requirement before you can test. So we took out, we were going over the road together. I didn't have, if I don't have more than one student, then like I go over the road. I took him over the road with me. So we went over the road. He drove from the terminal to Amarillo, Texas, and then we stopped there for the night. And we were gonna get up and drive more the next day. This dude gets up and he's all like, "You're gonna drive?" I said, "No, I'm not gonna drive. This is your experience. You need to drive." And he was all like, "So, he's all like, I already met the minimum requirements." I'm all like, really? You rode I-44 all the way down to the 40 and that was it? Like that's all the experience you need to test? I said, we haven't even did many turns. I was like, we just went straight from there to here. Like we stopped for a 30-minute break. That was it. I said, and you're ready to test? He was all like, so it went back. I was all like, okay, so you're refusing to drive. He's like, I ain't refusing to drive. I'm just saying I'm not going to drive. I said, that's refusing to drive. He's like, I'm not refusing to drive. It was early in the morning. I was like, man, my fleet manager ain't even in. I said, all right, I'll just drive this out. I drove. I told him, I was like, no phone, no earbuds. Just study the pre-trip while you're in that seat. I said, that's the rules. No phone, none of that stuff. My truck, my rules. So he sat there with nothing to do but look at the pre-trip paper from Amarillo to somewhere in New Mexico. I can't even remember where. But that was like the first time I stopped. It had to be like 6, 7 hours later because that's how long I like to drive before I take my 30-minute break. We get that far. I hit up my fleet manager. Hey, this dude's refusing to drive. My fleet manager calls him, talks to him. My fleet manager calls me. Hey, this dude's something else. We're going to get you back to the yard soon as we can after this load. We're going to get you back to the yard and we're letting the training department deal with him. I already knew he was getting sent home. So, like, guess what? He just got to ride around. So he rode around in the passenger seat with no phone, no earbuds, nothing but a pre-trip paper in his lap till we got back. Once we got back, he was all like, all right, man, I'm ready to start learning my pre-trip. I'm all like, yeah, okay. So, like, me, I'm all like, you know what? I'm going to let him study his whole pre-trip. He didn't know nothing. We got out. I was like, let's hear the engine compartment. He didn't know nothing. So, like, you know what? Study the engine compartment. Then work on this and work on this. He started studying that stuff. I waited till he was at the trailer. I was like, hey, let's go in and talk to the training department. They need to talk to you. I went in there. They were all like, you refuse to drive? This he cops the attitude. He's all like, I'm not going to do his work. I'm not going to do his work for free. So like that's why I really don't want to answer your question too much. Just know we're going to get you the requirement. We will get you the requirement. There's no minimum. There's no minimum or there's a minimum. There's no maximum. It's whenever your instructor feels that you're ready to test is when you test. So don't worry about that. Just come out here and do it. But yeah, he ended up getting sent home. I was kind of petty for making him do the whole pre-trip, making him study the whole pre-trip, knowing he was gonna get sent home. But I wanted to talk to my friends. I was over the road for like a week and a half or 2 weeks almost. So I was like, oh, all my friends are here. I'm gonna talk to them. You do your pre-trip. It was kind of like I don't know. It's kind of petty. I'll admit it. It was kind of petty because I knew they were gonna send him home. But yeah, that happens. Okay, that's where we were. Okay, thank you for telling me. My recruiter told me they would. Okay, so your recruiter did tell you about that. Great. Paul says, "Hey, I'm enjoying your live. Welcome in, Paul. Thank you." Yeah, that student sound like a jerk. Yeah, there was more. There's more that I do not want to get into. Like he was something else. Like there was more. There was a lot more reasons. I just email my fleet manager every day. He did this. He said this. He did this. He did that. I just kept cool with him. I was like, really, I didn't talk to him. I didn't talk to him much. I'd just be like first couple days, I was like, hey, you want to drive? No, okay. Like that was all we talked. A couple times I was all like I was all like, you learning the pre-trip, because that was also one of the reasons he couldn't drive, is he said he needed to study his pre-trip and he couldn't do that if he was driving all the time. And I was like, okay. So a couple times I asked him, hey, you good with your pre-trip yet? And he was all like, I'm working on it. Yeah, okay. Okay, I see you working on it. So, he had a bad attitude. He'd just pop off. If he felt like I was telling him what to do, he would pop off. Like I'd be like he tried to wear his shoes in the back of my truck. That's a no no. That is a no no. When I live in my truck, you do not wear your shoes in the back of the truck. He tried to wear the shoes in the back of my truck. I say, hey, don't wear the shoes in the back of my truck. Second time it happened, I said, hey, bro, I told you about not wearing the shoes. Third time, I'm all like, do you have an issue? I say, have you ever just told somebody not to do something and then they keep on doing it? He was all like, yeah. He's all like, that's messed up. I was like, yeah, it's disrespectful, isn't it? Yeah. I said, dude, this is my house and you keep disrespecting it. Like, I remember I got onto California one time, or we were on our way to California. I got onto California. He was all like, hey man, I'm gonna jump off the truck and go see my brother or some family member. He was all like, he lives out here, blah blah blah. I went extra out of the way. I drove even longer just to get this dude to where he needed to be. I was all like, you know what? I was gonna stop here, but I'm actually gonna go all the way here because he's gonna get off the truck. I told him, I was all like, hey, I'm leaving at 8 a.m. in the morning, or I think it was like 3 a.m. I said, I'm leaving at 3 a.m. If you're here, you leave with me. If you're not here, then I'm leaving without you. Because I was all like, hopefully he doesn't come back. Hopefully we're going here because he can get all this junk off my truck. You know? Like, it's just what it is. Like, that dude was something else. You're right, he was a jerk. Yeah, send that person home. Don't need those with the bad attitudes. Exactly. Bad attitudes, they're hard to deal with. And sometimes people just feel like they're getting bossed around for some reason, and they're all like, man, you got an attitude. I'm all like, I got an attitude? I don't got an attitude. Look, my job is an instructor. There's two of us here. My job's an instructor. Your job is a student. We need to both play our roles. I instruct you to do something. As long as it's not unethical, like I'm not telling you, hey, go in that store and take a candy bar and just leave without paying. Like, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. So if I'm telling you something like that, you know it's wrong, you know you shouldn't do it, you're not going to do that. Then you report it to the training department. But if I'm telling you, hey, go do your pre-trip. Go do your pre-trip. It's not that hard. Stuff like that. Sometimes people start getting a bad attitude about it and they start letting it build up and build up and build up, and it's just making the work relationship worse and worse and worse. And I'm all like, hey man, what's up? Tell me about it. Tell me about it. What's your problem? And if they can't, then I'm all like, you know what? Let's just go in this training department. We'll talk to somebody. So I've had several times that I've went in there and said, hey, we need to have a set down. And you know, I'm kind of like able to talk to them before they go in and talk with the student. So the student, I just, hey, go in the quiet room. I go up to the desk. Hey, so and so, one of you want to come over here and talk to my student? I got this going on. He's great at driving. He's great at backing. He's struggling with his pre-trip. He he got a little bit of an attitude we need to work out. Like, I don't know what's going on with him, but he is giving me some serious attitude, and I'm not playing that. So like, they come in there, they kind of mediate. Hey, what's going on? You talk some stuff out, and you find out that he's all like, man, I just feel like you're talking to me wrong, and I'm all like, by telling you what to do, I'm not talking to you wrong. I'm telling you what to do. I shouldn't want your CDL more than you want it. So yeah, it happens. It's good that we have somebody that can mediate like that. I've also had students go in there and ask to talk to the guy in charge, and they call me, and I go in there, and they're all like, hey, this student has this issue, and I'm all like, hey, what's up? And I find out what's the matter that way. Like, it's not a bad thing. I've had students go in there and complain on me and get sent right back to my truck. I have to tell them, hey, look, I'm not going to treat you any different. I don't care. I don't care if you went in there and complained about me or not. Like, I don't care. I got a job to do. You want your CDL. I want you to get your CDL. Let's just get back to work. A lot of people will feel like, man, he's going to treat me different. No, I'm not going to treat you different. I'm not going to treat you different. We're just going to do the job that needs to be done, and that's it. Like walking in someone's house 3 times with your shoes on. Yeah, hey, definitely disrespect when somebody's walking in your house with the shoes on, and it's it's really like it's this nasty truck stops. They're nasty. You don't want somebody to walk through that truck stop, and then walk onto your floor. Like, it's just disgusting. That's the worst thing that can happen is somebody walk through the pee and all that stuff on the ground in the truck stop and then bring that into your truck and walk into the back. It's just contaminating the whole truck. So, Chris, like I said, it's the money for me that makes things difficult. But I understand this is school at the end of the day, and Prime is paying me to get trained. Yeah, yeah, they are. It's a year contract. It's a year contract that you're guaranteed. What you need is the experience. The experience. Like, I'm this year and the end of last year, I've been getting a ton of these Job Corps guys, a ton of them. Either they made it through Job Corps and they're brand new, just with a piece of paper that says, "Hey, I can drive a truck." That they can't drive a truck, but that's another story. Or it's the guys that like were at Job Corps for a while, got frustrated over there, and say, you know what, I'm gonna go somewhere else, and they came to Prime. Either way, they ended up at the same spot. The experience is what you need in trucking. That is one of the problems with the trucking schools. Is the trucking schools, you need that experience. If I was going to go to a trucking school, I would make sure that they had places lined up that they worked with. Like, say I went to the school, I'd be like, hey, after I get my CDL, who do you have that I can work for? Like, what companies do you work with? Like, are you working with Swift or Snyder or Prime, or whatever the case may be? Like, whatever the case may be, like, are y'all have something worked out where like your graduates can go to them and boom, get hired on? Like, because that's what a lot of people run into out there. The problem with the trucking schools is they run into that problem. Nobody will touch them because they don't have experience. Western Express is quite an experience. Yeah, that's what I heard. That's where that's where that's where a lot of people go from. I know one trucking school that's where a lot of their students go. So I mean, like, do research on the place that they have lined up to, like the trucking company they have lined up to. So don't only just do research on the school. A lot of schools are not going to have that. They're just going to be like, hey, they start off with like, we guarantee you a CDL. You can't guarantee nobody a CDL. I will tell you that. You cannot. It, the only way you can guarantee somebody to get a CDL is if you're just riding license. You're just like, let me sign off on that. There's your paper. That's the only way. Because some people just are not going to get it. Some people are just not going to get it. Some people are going to get it. Some people just need the more help and the more work. I've whenever I started training, I was like, I will get every single one of my students a CDL. Period. Like I'm unstoppable. There should If I can't get every one of my students a CDL, every single one of them. If I cannot get every single one of them a CDL, then I'm not going to be a good trainer. I said, I'm not going to be a good instructor. Well, I have found out that, like, I've had a guy sent home because there was no way to teach him straight line back. Like, none of the backing. He wouldn't even back his car. Great guy, great guy, great guy. He was really good at his pre-trip. He drove really good. But whenever it came to backing, if he put that thing in reverse, he was a different person. So half the time he would turn too big, half the time he would turn too small, half the time he wouldn't do nothing, half the time he would do too much. Like, it was just, you could walk next to the truck while he's backing and he couldn't do nothing. I took the truck off the trailer and just said, "Hey, back the truck straight through the lane." He couldn't even do that. He turned it and just start going straight across the pad the opposite direction, like all over the place. So, like, unfortunately, there was nothing I could do. I had one guy sent home because he couldn't get the pre-trip down. I mean, he worked on it and worked on it. I was his third trainer. He had a lot of other issues. He had a lot of other issues. That's why he got put with me, is because he needed more structure, we'll say. He needed more structure. And unfortunately, I had him test ready, but the pre-trip. And finally, they called me because I don't give up on people. If you're showing up and you're trying, I don't give up on you. So he was showing up, and he was not trying hard, though. He was not trying hard. So unfortunately, they finally called me, and they're all like, "What's going on?" I was like, uh, "He's not ready to test." They said, "What? He can't? You having problems with his backing?" I said, "No." "You having problems with his driving?" "No, I'm not having problems with that either." They said, "Well, why isn't he tested?" I was like, "There's three parts of the test." They said, "Pre-trip? What's he doing? Struggling on the in cab?" I said, "He doesn't know any of it. Like, none of it. Like, none." They're all like, "Bring him up front." Like, they didn't believe me. They're like, "No way. No way." I brought him up front, and they did a eval. They said, "What part are you the best at?" He was like, "I'm the best at the engine compartment." I was like, "Oh man, that's the longest one. Why'd you pick the longest one?" Like, okay, he picked the longest one. He picked it. Could not preach it. And they gave him several opportunities and several days and rechecked him every single day. Still couldn't get it done. So, I had to realize a long time ago that, like, I can't, like, I can work some miracles. I've had some guys that I was all like, man, this guy's never gonna pass, and they have passed. But I'm not that good that you. Sometimes you just can't win every time. Keep the great work. You're a great trainer. Thank you, CDL Shorty. Do you like the Peterbilt or the T680? But T60. Maybe that was a typo. Kenworth versus Peterbilt. See, I've never had a Peterbilt of my own, so, like, I messed around with my friends' Peterbilts. Like, I backed them, I drove them around the pad, stuff like that. So, as I really can't compare the two. I can compare the Kenworth versus the Freightliner, but as for the comparison to the Peterbilt to Kenworth, I can't tell you, because I would just be like, mine's better. because I'm in it, you know. Mine's better because it's black and silver and gold, you know. So I can't tell you which one's better. There are things in the Peterbilt that I was all like, man, I wish mine had that. But the crazy thing is, my friends with the Peterbilts, they're all like, nah, yours is better. It's better like that. And I was like, why? You get the full door. I get the half door. They're all like, no, no, because think of it like this: every time you get your gloves out to fill up the truck, you can just open that one door. I gotta open the whole thing. It opens to the bunk too. Sand, dust, dirt, stuff blowing. It's all gonna get in my truck, especially since they're flatbedders is who I was talking to. So there's a lot of things like I would say I would like more in the Peterbilt. There was a lot of things in the Kenworth that I like better. Kind of the same trucks from my understanding. It's, how many chances do you get to pass the CDL test while in training? It depends. It really depends. I've seen people test a lot of times. I've seen people test a couple times. I pre-trip I really don't have many people fail the pre-trip. I think I've had 7 total in the last 2 years. 2 years, I've had only about 7 out of like 60, like 120, 110 students. I've only had like 7 of them fail the pre-trip. They were so nervous they didn't know their name. So like, and everyone, I've only had one guy since I've been training fail the pre-trip more than once. He failed it twice. He didn't get a CDL either, but he quit. He just wouldn't stay out. He just would not study it. Period. He was hard headed. I forgot about him. But yeah, so the backing, I think my record on the backing is I had somebody test 4 times on the backing, you know, and then the drive is only 3 times. You can only test 3 times, period, on the drive in the state of Missouri. Response. Thank you for all the videos. All good information. Leaving the reefer business as a member tech with carrier. Wanted to come and get a CDL and drive. Willing to listen and learn. Hey, let's go. So, leaving the reefer business. So hey, if your reefer breaks down, you'll be able to fix it if you go reefer, or you'll at least know what you need to fix it. So that could save you money, especially if you're like your lease, or even if your company, say that something breaks in it and you can fix it and you know how to do it, man, that's gonna make it even easier. I remember for some reason, my reefer, the fuel pump, I guess, was bad in it or something, but it wouldn't send fuel up the line. So I had to prime my reefer one time. I primed it. You had to unscrew this thing, and there's a little pump. Anyways, it sucked. So I've got it. We got it all the way to prime. They worked on it. Then we took off from prime to go deliver it. On the way, it started doing it again. So you would prime it and it would run for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then it would be like boom. So we would have to prime it up again, pull over, prime it back up again, drive for a couple hours, and then boom. So I don't know. That thing was a pain in itself. You could have probably fixed yours. I don't know. The shop had it, and we went out of our way to bring it to prime to get fixed, because I was like, I ain't gonna be priming this thing all the time. I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, we're taking it to the shop. So we went out of our way to come to the shop and couldn't get it done. And then we dropped that trailer off at the shop. So we were all like, hey, y'all get to it when y'all get to it. And we dropped it there and picked up a fixed trailer that was at a shop, and we took off. After we delivered, it was empty when we dropped it at the shop. Uh, what type of techniques did you try to teach him for straight line back? Oh man, trust me, everything. I was out there 14 hours a day for about. I was probably out there 14 hours a day for I think about 6 days. 6 days. He was the first guy I ever had sent home. Like so, I was out there. I tried all kinds of stuff. Which I had my friends come out. I had a friend come out. Hey, you try. You tell him whatever it takes. Nothing. Had another friend come out. Hey, gotta get this guy through this, man. He's such a good dude. I I don't want him to not get this. I even tried to be like, you know what? We're gonna skip straight line back. We're gonna go to the offsets. He could remember like where to back up to and stop, but everywhere you had a straight line back, like so, he could back up to a certain point and then he would stop and that was good. Back up to another point, stop, that was good, and then back up, get it back to straight. He could do that, but whenever it came to straight line backing it the rest of the way, over with. Um, we tried the parallels, the right and left parallel. As soon as we got to the straight line back part, it was over with. Like, I mean, there was, tried a whole bunch of different things. Try to teach him the alley dock. He could get it all the way in the alley dock, but once it was in there, it was over with because the rest of it is extremely good on your straight line back skills. Extremely good on your straight line back skills to do it. So there was just nothing you could do. Buffalo Bill says, I went to school in Buffalo, New York, and seen one lady fail the test 4 times. They had to bring her into the office, talk to her into maybe trying something else in life. She was a great lady. I felt bad for her. Yeah, and that happens. That happens. And I don't know what it is, but it's always the super nice, the nicest ones that have the hardest times. The super, super nice people like that, they're the ones that keep failing, and you're like, oh, you're like, not you. So sometimes test anxiety, that's real. Like people get bad test anxiety. It's a real thing. Like you flip out. I don't I never like I had test anxiety, but I deal with mine in a different way. Like I deal with mine by, getting kind of pumped up. Like I get hyper and pumped up. That's how I deal with my anxiety. You know, Sometimes it just takes you finding out the way to deal with your anxiety, whatever's best. I had a guy just not too long ago. He failed. What did he fail? He failed backing, or he failed the maneuvers. I should say the maneuvers. He failed the maneuvers. Then he failed the maneuvers. And no, I take that back. He failed the maneuvers the first time. The second time, he failed the drive. He failed the drive the second time, and so that the day before his test that he passed, I played some Lamb God Omerta, and I was all like, "Hey, this is how you need to come into this test tomorrow. You need to come in here like you're gonna destroy this thing. Like you're gonna treat that truck and that trailer like you own it, like it's your truck and trailer. Like you're gonna run that thing down the road. You're gonna do the speed. I'm not telling you speed. I'm not telling you speed, but you're gonna drive that thing like it's yours. And like if it's talking back, I want you to make it do what you want it to do. If it starts going too fast, I want you to make it slow down. Use that brake. Stay in control of it. Like I want you to be ready to like you're gonna destroy this test. Like you're gonna blow it away. So he went on that drive, came back. The examiner was like, "It was a good drive. It was a real good drive." I was like, "What?" I was like, really? Heck yeah. Damn, you have a good heart. I often run into problems as well. I'm an instructor as well, and one of my techniques is make them use both mirrors and tell them to chase the trailer tires. Yeah, that's well, I mean, I will tell you this, Shorty, and I hope you don't take no offense to it, but I'm not into like doing anything that's gonna just pass the test. So like I could have got him. So there's a difference between getting him to just pass the test and getting him to actually be able to do the job. Some people will pick up the skills in TNT. Some people will not. He would not have picked up the skills. He was going to be dangerous out there. He really was. Now I tried super hard with him, but like that technique right there, like I don't teach like that. Like I teach the I teach the hey, make that trailer go straight down that line. You know, keep it about a foot from that line. Keep it about a foot from that line, and make it go straight down that line and play the long game. Make it go to where you want it to go. If it's getting out of line, then you need to bump it over, get back to straight, and do this. So like that technique right there. I know several techniques like that right there, and I just don't agree with them. My personal opinion, I don't agree with them. I also don't agree with the little acronyms for the last maneuver. Like, oh, we're just gonna turn right because my trainer says so. Like, I don't believe in stuff like that. I'm all like, I'm teaching you the three moving parts and how to move each one of them. We're not gonna do that. So there's a whole bunch of different stuff that just works for the test. It works for the test. I'm not like me personally. I'm like I'm not gonna. I'm not just gonna get someone a CDL. Like my guys and a lot of my students, I tell them I'm like, look, I'm gonna be harder than most trainers because I do everything to the best of my ability. I was raised that way. My dad told me my work speaks for me. I was told I need to take pride in what I do, no matter what it is. Take pride in what you do. So like I don't do any shortcuts. Chris H, how is Prime hiring recent felons in trucking schools now month long 160-hour program be done in 1 week? I know it's going to be hard, but I have to try. How's Prime hiring? Chris, you would have to put in an application if you had any charges or anything like that. Each one's different, so a recruiter would be the best answer to that. Long 160-hour programs done in 1 week. Peg leg says turn right to go left. Paul says D I got DVT, but as long as I'm taking my blood thinner, I'm doing okay. I could pass the exam. Well, hey, as long as everything you're taking is good with DOT, it's not nothing restricted by DOT, then there shouldn't be no problems with taking medication. So you're good. I don't know if you remember, but I texted you about a month ago. My name is Ruben. I recently did trifecta. I see you on the pad, but didn't want to interrupt your training. I went into intermodal in Chicago. Oh, awesome. You wouldn't have interrupted me. I have people walk up all the time. Like if I need to, so whenever people come up to me, like I can have a conversation, right? Hey, how's it going? You know, nice to meet you. You know, what's going on tomorrow? Hey, whoa, 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 you're messing up. Like, hey, you need to do a pull up. You need to do a pull up. Do the one I taught you. Yeah, but so you said you were going to do this and that. Like, I can still do my job. Like, I've done that several times. Like, my friends that come over and see me on the pad, they already know that I'm gonna be like talking to them, and then I might be like, hey, time out, time out. Well, set the brakes. Come talk to me. Like, what's going on? What are you thinking? You're thinking about doing something here. So did you do this? How about this? Oh, you forgot to do that. Go try it out. You know, so I can have conversations like that. I think it's better for me to have the different conversations because I got the ADD, whatever it is, the letters. So like I'll skip around on stuff. Like I'll watch TV, be on YouTube, and edit in a video all at the same time. Like, you know, I keep on going. Garza says Freightliner or Peterbilt going to Springfield for my classes. My class only have 6K miles left. I really want a Peterbilt. Get whichever one you feel like, man. Like, you know, if you're going company, you're not gonna get a pick. But hey, if you're going lease, you get a pick. I don't know. So like right now, my Kenworth is freaking great. So like, you know, it's the same engine. Like, I don't have no problems with it, but I've only been in it like a month. I think if I was over the road, I would be more comfortable leaving in the Freightliner. And the reason I say that is because the shop's more available for the Freightliner. So if it does break, I can get it into the shop. A lot of the Freightliner stuff is not warranty stuff. So like a lot of the Freightliner shops are 24/7, you know, they're open all the time. A lot of the Peterbilt's shops are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 or whatever. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff to consider whenever you're thinking about it. Just go with whatever your gut tells you to do. If it tells you, hey man, this Peterbilt's nice, I'm gonna do it. All right, this Freightliner's nice, I'm gonna do it. At the end of the day, it's a truck. It's a truck, and at the end of the day, every truck that you get is a coin toss of is this gonna be a good one or is this gonna be a bad one. I got lucky. First truck good. Second truck good. Let me think. I gotta think of the colors: blue, turquoise, green, 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 and then the white. So like I had good truck, good truck, good truck, good truck. The white one, a lemon. Bad, bad, bad. And that is why I ended up in the Kenworth. Is because I was like, oh, this truck is a lemon. Like I gotta get out of it. Like I was like, I can't do it no more. Like I'm gonna go ahead and take my truck order. I'm gonna go order one. And then I saw all the Kenworths and I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to get one of those because I always wanted one. But yeah, I got a test tomorrow, guys. I'm out of here. Hold on. Question: I watch you a lot of your social media videos on trucking. Why do drivers pull up to fuel pump and stay there for over 45 minutes when it causes such an issue with most drivers? Look, I do it too. I'm not tripping about it. If it's at night, so like I will do it like late at night, early morning. There is nowhere to park in the truck stop, and people, I don't know what that sound was, but people will always complain about it. And the sad thing is, they're doing the same thing. They're doing the exact same thing. So people will complain about it, and they'll cry about it, and they're all like, I'm going to be late to my load, or, I would never do that, whatever the case may be. They're doing the exact same thing. If there's nowhere to park and you just need a 30-minute break, pull up into the fuel island, get fuel, go in the store, use the bathroom, then get fuel, then move up. That way, if anyone comes behind you, they can get fuel, and then come back after you move up, go back in the store, kill some time, buy you snacks, whatever, come back to your truck, eat a little bit of it, whatever, and then take off once your break's over with. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I've done it several times, several times, because there's nowhere to park. Where else are we going to take a 30-minute break? If you're not doing it in the fuel bay, then or in front of the fuel bay, like, where are you going to do it? Now, during the day when there's an open truck stop, I if I'm going to be there a while, I'll park. So, like, not too long ago, we went to me and my student went to Love's, and I knew that we were going to be there. I think we ended up, I was like, we got 20 minutes to kill, I think it was. So he needed 20 more minutes till his break was over. So I was all like, we're just going to park in the parking lot and go in, do whatever. Like, we're going to be here like 30 minutes or 20 minutes. Like, go for it. So we finished his break right there at the truck stop. We parked. It was during the day, plenty of spots. But if I'm just running in there to use the restroom, or, we might be stopping to go get some drinks, some water or something like that. I'm going to just stop in the fuel bay, and I'm going to run in there, get what we need, and we're going to get out. Simple as that. Like, I'm not gonna be chilling in there. I'm not gonna be chilling in there. And I tell my students, I'm all like, hey, look, we're parked in a fuel bay. Make it quick. So go use the restroom, grab your food, grab whatever, come back out here. If there's no trucks in front of me, sometimes, very rare, because I got these truck stops that I like going to, and the reason I like going to them is they're usually, the fuel pumps are not busy. Like, I'll try to find the place with the most expensive diesel, most expensive fuel, and I'm gonna go there because I know nobody's gonna be getting fuel there. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna go find it cheaper somewhere else. So, like, I usually pick one of those truck stops that they don't even have many people in there anyways. If the bays are full, then I'm gonna pull all the way up. If there's a bunch of empty ones, I'm just gonna park at the pumps and just go in, do my stuff, and get out. Like, I'm not gonna play around. So anyways, I'm out of here. I got a test tomorrow, bright and early in the morning. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all for showing up. We had some great questions tonight, and hopefully I'm back next Thursday. Let's go.